All right. Thank you so much for hopping on, you guys. Those of you who are there with us live. And thank you for tuning in elsewhere. We play these out on YouTube. We have a podcast. We have some Facebook group pages that are for entrepreneurs or people building business or people who are in network marketing. So I know that there's a lot of people who listen to these after the fact. So if any of you saw my one of my lives last week, which I'm going to do more this week on the subject, I ran across a podcast last week of a gentleman that I read his book most recently. And he was actually, I just picked an episode just to throw something on when I was working out last Monday, I believe. And I say sometimes those moments are, you have to step back and be like, okay, why did I stumble upon that podcast? Because I didn't even know he had a podcast. I just saw a post on someone's page about this guy having a podcast. I was like, ooh, I liked his book. I should go look at his podcast. When I got to the podcast, I was reading through the titles and was like, meh, 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 meh. None of these really fit for me. And one, I just decided to click on. And I started listening to it and the title didn't really speak to me. And I started listening to it and I was like, just listen to it, Jessica. Just something kept telling me to keep listening to it. And I did. And like, I'm obsessed. We'll say that I'm obsessed with this gentleman that he interviewed on the podcast. And upset. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I do have a husband. I'm not obsessed with the gentleman. I'm obsessed with his mindset and the person that he is. So I've now in the last week read two of his books. One I still have not quite finished. I got to get through it, and watched part of his Discovery Channel documentary of his Impossible Row. Anyways, I won't give all of that away to you. What I will say is, you have a moment sometimes in your journey of personal development that can shift the whole trajectory of your life and the things that you do and why you do them. And so that's why I preach so much personal development. And I'm going to do a little live on that later today about working out the muscles in our brain. Mine needed it and God knew it. And I don't know, oops, my alarm going off for this to make sure I'm on here. I would be a little late. That was the snooze. So, anyways, I really believe the mentality of this gentleman, his book and his challenge, of which I am going to tackle. I have now committed fully. If you watched my live, you'll know I was kind of teetering back and forth because it was the day that I listened to the podcast. I just got all excited about it. I am going to go on a little mental journey on Friday, so long as the weather holds out, because I refuse to do this in like sleeting, snow, or rain, but it's supposed to be nice on Friday, so I should be good. Don't call me on Friday. I will be able to answer your call. So bug me after 7 p.m. or on Saturday or Sunday, or get with me before Thursday afternoon. Okay, so I can talk more about that another time. That's not what this morning is about. But while I was reading his book, he brought up this theory, and I had actually never heard it before. So I was like, ooh, I've got to teach others about this, because I do believe it's so important to protect our mindset and our peace, especially well, at all times, but especially when you're on an entrepreneurial journey, because you are going to have people who don't think you can do it, and you're going to have people tell you you cannot do it, and you're going to have people that mess with your mindset every single day of your life on your journey as an entrepreneur. And those people, more times than not, the sabotagers who try to prevent you from getting ahead out of jealousy, envy, and resentment, spite, and even competitiveness, are usually the people the closest to you. Surprise, surprise. It's not Joe Boxer out on the internet sitting behind a screen wanting, because even if he did bug you about what you were doing, you don't know him anyway, so you tend to blow him off. However, those people that are the closest to you could be your family, your mother, your father, your spouse, your children, your friends, your best friend, your business partners, your upline, your downline. It can be your best work buddy. It's the people closest to you that are the crabs in your bucket, which is kind of unsettling. But here's a reprieve for those awful friends that we surround ourselves with and family members that I just covered. Most of the time, I'm going to give you a story in my past of a time that it wasn't most of the time, but most of the time, those people actually don't mean you any harm. Those people don't actually not want you to succeed. That's not their mindset. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. I'm going to share a story. But most of the time, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your coworker, your friend, your upline, your downline, your sideline, your coworker, they really just don't want to have to take a look in the mirror. That's actually why. Let me back up 5 steps, and I'm going to read you a little excerpt on what is this crab story so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Some of you probably looked it up because I've been posting about it for about 24 hours. Some of you are probably like, why is Jessica talking about crabs? This is weird. Does she mean crabby people? No. So let me just read you this little excerpt. You don't understand, the man replied. If there's one crab in the bucket, it will surely crawl out very quickly. However, when there are many crabs in the bucket, if one tries to crawl up the side, the others will grab a hold of it and even pull it back down so that it will share the same fate as the rest of them. Even further, if a crab tries to climb out of the bucket a second time, the other crabs will gang up on the crab and crack its snappers to stop it from climbing out. So, okay, I was like, really? Like, do crabs have brains like that? So of course I had to start Googling because I was like, I don't know if that's really true. So here's what I found after my limited Google searches. You can go out there and do your own searches. I don't care. It's a metaphor. Overall, it's a metaphor. However, there are lots of stories on the internet about, watching crabs in a bucket and this actually happening. And my friend Billy has a comment here. I'm just gonna go to it because I know he's such a smart individual. Wait, where'd my comments go? They just disappeared on me. It's so weird. The chat just disappeared. Okay. I can't get to it. If somebody else comments in there, maybe I can click on it. Oh, there it is. It just popped back up. That is so weird. Oh, just a personal experience crabbing in Pensacola as a kid. I know, and I posted this on Facebook yesterday. I had a couple of comments. People sent me a couple of messages about they like crab, they like to eat crab. They are a crab. So I know everybody has their stories. So anyways, back to the message of think about that in your personal life and how remarkably similar it is to your social groups and crabs in your own bucket. And hey, I sat back because I was like, I want to tell them a story about, a personal experience of some time that this has happened to me. And you know what my brain kept doing is how many times had I done it to other people, not realizing what I was doing, not ready to do or uncover. Like, let's think about 75 Hard. Most people at this point are familiar with what 75 Hard is. It's a 75-day journey to get healthy and fit and whatever. You go on, your own specific diet. You read 10 pages in a book every day. You do so many minutes of exercise a day. You drink so much water a day, and you do it for 75 days. And it's very specific and very cult-like. Just kidding. I tried it. I lasted 35 days. So I'm determined to do my 12-hour walk on Friday. Oops, I just told you what I was doing for sure. So when you're doing those things, when you're committing to a 75 hard type challenge, there's going to be a lot of people that will come around and be like, no, I'm not joining you in that. And I've even, personally experienced that. Like, I want to go on this journey of this workout or this routine or this or that. And a lot of times people will be like, oh, never, you'll never do that. And it doesn't even have to be about that, you not achieving it and them coming at you or after you. A lot of times it can just be about them talking about how ridiculous the program is or why you shouldn't do it or why they would never do it. And it's just because most of the time mentally, they're not there yet. They're like, they've already told themselves in their brain they are not capable of doing it. So why would you be capable of doing it? Because people don't ever really, they want you to do good, But most people genuinely, I mean, not genuinely, realistically, most people have a really hard time seeing other people do better than them, especially if it's on the same target, right? Like we're both doing 75 hard. I'm not telling you your friends won't cheer you on, but most times your brain, the way it is wired and operated, is to be competitive and to be able to accomplish it together. And if someone isn't there yet, they don't think they can accomplish it, they sure as heck don't think you can accomplish it. So they're gonna like immediately start picking at the things that will tell you that you can't do it too. So some examples in real life, and then I'm going to tell you a quick story of me. You want to go on a diet and your friend sways you into having that dessert. How many times does that happen? You got to dinner and you're like, you know what? I'm eating healthy. I'm having a salad tonight. I'm really watching what I'm eating. And your dessert friend is with you and they want to have dessert. And they're like, oh my gosh, Kristen, you have busted your butt. Or Kelly, I've seen you biking every single day and jogging your 20 miles this week. You totally deserve to have dessert. You should just do it. I want to get this apple pie a la mode. I think you should do it with me. Let's have it. Celebrate how well you did this week. Because they don't want to eat the dessert alone in front of you. You just ran 20 miles this week, or you went cycling in the morning, Kristen, every morning, and you made people think, wow, how incredible is she? I don't know if I could do that. So I know you bust your ass to have your dessert. And this is just an example. But we could easily talk our friends out of going cycling at 5:30 a.m. in the morning if we didn't think that we were mentally prepared enough to do it. How about this one? This one is so popular, but so wrong. And I've done it to other people myself. I will admit to you this. I was the crab in their bucket. Think about when you're going out to eat or going out for the evening and your friends, you know, you're kind of used to having some cocktails together, a glass of wine with dinner, whatever. And your friend tells you, you know what, I've given up drinking for 30 days. I'm not even talking about somebody who's like completely trying to quit drinking. If I ever did that to one of my friends who completely tried to take alcohol out of their life and become sober, and I offered to drink, have them drink with me, and I would be a very bad person. I'm more than a crab in the bucket. I'm the devil in the bucket. I've never done that. What I am saying though, is when your friend is on a 30-day hiatus, just trying to clean up their diet or make some changes, we very easily could be like, oh, come on, it's one night. It's one night, it's one beer. Come on, just have one drink with me. How many times have we done that to other people? And how many times has that been done to us? Right? It's so easy to do that. But think about what you've done to your friend or what your friend is doing to you. Like you're really just trying to take a 30-day hiatus to clean something up or change something or shift something. Maybe we should probably think twice about doing that to people, but it happens all the time. It's the same mentality as those crabs sitting in that bucket. One's trying to get out. It sees the top. It doesn't want to go to the crab boil. And its friend is like, no, save me. I want to go, but I'm not strong enough to go alone. And it grabs it and it pulls it back down. And he goes up and he tries again and he tries again and he's climbing. And now they've all ganged up on him because none of them are strong enough. But if they would just work together and be accountability partners, they could all reach the top, get out, and save themselves from the crab boil. Okay, so I have in my past in network marketing, there's been 2 times where I have had upline who make money off of me, put me in a position of trying to keep me down in the bucket. And one more specifically than the other. The other, I think, was more one of those things like, well, I don't really want you to do it without me, because if I don't do it and you're there and then I don't think that it was really, you know, like trying that hard to keep me down in the bucket. It was more of an oversight and more of them not, you know, trying themselves to do it. But my first experience, I had a spot. It was actually my sponsor in the business. I'm going to get a little deep here. Hopefully, well, she watches this. It's on her. So we were running along in the business. We were about 2 years in. I had ranked up really fast for that company over the course of those 2 years. And I actually ranked up past her. And this happens all the time in network marketing. That's why I laugh a little bit. Sydney's live last week on the pyramid scheme thing. Like, no, it's possible. You can make more money than your upline. This has nothing to do with a triangle formation, because I've actually surpassed my sponsor both in both network marketing companies, just on a rank level. On the first one, I'll say I passed her up in a personal development level too, but that's another story for another day. Well, no, I'm going to tell you part of it. So she was definitely the crab in my bucket, trying to keep me pulled down repeatedly. And even when she couldn't, she tried to gather others to pull me back down in that bucket. And so over the course of about a year, there was different events I wouldn't get invited to participate in that could build the business. Now you're sitting back probably thinking like, how dumb, like that person makes money off of you in network marketing. They're supposed to help you. They're supposed to be like your regional sales manager that comes in and pushes the promos and drags you to all of the things to make you a better salesperson. You're right. But I had already surpassed her rank wise and was getting recognition for that. And it was killing her. She mentally could not handle it. So she needed to keep trying to pull me back down so she could get ahead of me and in front of me. And I just didn't do very well with that. So after about the 10th time of being shut out, and she gathered, unbeknownst to these other people probably of what she was really up to, she gathered some other people to help in that pursuit. And I was not invited to a couple of really big events that could have furthered my career massively in a recruitment style, right? Like in actually being able to obtain new people to join our business. And so this is where, if you are a crab in someone's bucket, check yourself. Or if you come upon a situation like this, check yourself, because what ended up happening is she lost me. Though, like, I truly believe that your success or failure in a network marketing business or any entrepreneurial journey comes back to you. It is completely on you. However, there sometimes are extenuating circumstances. The company that I was with was wonderful. The products that they have are world class. The compensation plan, though difficult, they have made some changes to it now after I have gone, was hard, but it was working. And for long-term residual income, it's a great company and compensation plan. And I don't believe that your sponsor really has a 100% effect on, your success or failure in a business like this. In that situation, she actually did. So I had to leave. It was not a matter of being able to go around her. She was too ingrained in the leadership we had in that organization. And I was never going to be able to get around that. So I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands and dump that damn bucket over and get out. And it is unfortunate for her that she was not strong enough mentally to be a better person and leader than that. And no matter how high of rank I went, or if I was making more money than her or not at any point, you just don't want to do that to yourself, especially in the network marketing realm, right? Because we are able and free to go and do what we want, when we want, and where we want to. So I obviously left that company, joined my second network marketing company, where a lot of you know my success in that company. I'm certain she had to eat dirt many of days while watching me climb that Everest and then stand on the top waving my finish flag. I won. We'll say I have some feelings towards that still. I might need to get over. But in the long run, she couldn't even help herself to continue to be a crab in my bucket. Followed me around, and actually a few years later, I opened an event company and ran an event and had an amazing company until the pandemic hit. Story for another day. Had some amazing speakers, had like the #1 author in the entire US, probably world at that time, opening our stage, and had some like extreme high level network marketers and other book writers and coaches and speakers that did that event with us for 3 or 4 days. She showed up at it. She bought a ticket and showed up at it. And I hadn't seen her since I left previous company. She proceeded to make friends with a bunch of people that were from my team and still try to be a crab in my bucket. She actually even joined on like the 27th level of my organization in new company. So it all came full circle. That gave me it gave me a little bit of a laugh. I've never spoken to her since she did that, or joined the second company that I was with. But it just goes to show that you will have some people like that in your life, in your business, in your team, in your, maybe you own and run a small business. Maybe you're just trying to get, a promotion at your current job, and you're working really hard towards that. You are going to have some people that are going to be your haters, that might be people that very, very well, and you would think want you to be successful. I was going to see if I had any more. Oh, here's a good one. She's out of your league, bro. Don't even try. You're not smart enough to teach. You're not even good looking enough to get a girl like that. How many times do guys say that kind of stupid stuff to each other? You're not smart enough to teach yourself coding. That business is too risky. That's a pyramid scheme. Some of your friends and family don't want you to get involved in one of those pyramid schemes, not because they don't want you to lose the $200 you might actually spend to get started in it, or $100. It's really because they don't necessarily want to do that themselves. They're afraid to actually take that leap of faith. And so they might talk you out of it or talk you away from it. Let's stay away from those type of people, right? Those are the crabs in the bucket. Here's a couple of pieces of advice. Number one, ignore the crabs. If you have those type of people in your life, and when you'll know who they are, and unfortunately, sometimes they're even as close as a spouse, and you're talking about going on a new workout journey or healthier diet journey. And, those people will say things very quickly that hurt the most because they're the closest. Like, oh, you tried that last year. That's not going to work. You always quit when you start something like that. Don't get that gym membership. It just ends up costing us money. And then you stop going after, a couple of weeks. And then we've got this stupid membership on our hands. Don't buy all of that healthy food that's in the fridge. All we do is waste it. You'll do it for a couple of weeks and then you'll quit. Those are the things that are some of our closest people will say to us to talk us out of one of our goals and keep us there. So sometimes, because you might still love that person dearly, you just have to ignore their comments. But maybe you also need to improve your circle. So here's some tips. If you're thinking about taking on something new or doing something and you've got some of those crabs in your bucket, here's some tips of what you can do when you can't just, get rid of your family. Join Facebook specific groups for what you are trying to accomplish. You will find very like-minded people in those, and you can visit them any time of the day or night to get some common thought processes floating through your head. You might be able to find, which is number 2, an accountability partner in one of those groups. I highly recommend an accountability partner, because that's the person you are going to rely on or rely upon. Sydney was telling a story yesterday about, going to work out at her dad's house very early yesterday morning before church. And she was kind of like, her brother, who lives very nearby, they've been going together to their dad's house to work out. And she was like, oh, maybe he's sleeping in and he won't get up and go this morning. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if he called her or popped in the house and was like, I'm here, I'm ready, let's go. And she was like, oh, okay, gotta go. Find an accountability partner like that for your journey. Because if your significant other or your children or the people closest to you at work are naysayers and they're the crabs in the bucket, you at least have that one person that's going to help hold you accountable, is going to pick you up on the days that you allow your own self to be your own crab in your bucket, right? So find that accountability partner. If you don't have one, go join those Facebook groups and see if you can find one. If it's a workout buddy you need locally, maybe talking to a couple of friends are on the same journey and seeing if they want to start a challenge with you, or at least commit to a 30 days in the gym or whatever it is. Find someone who can help keep you propped up on the bad days. Attend local events. This kind of goes in a couple of different directions. I love this because we're having a local event on Wednesday that I want people to come to. So attending local events. So like if you're part of a company or a team or Why do people go to AA? Right? They attend local events to stay on the same path so that people don't, other crabs in their bucket don't pull them back into doing the bad thing, right? And going back to something they shouldn't be doing. So same goes for our business. I've said this for years. We will always have local events. Sometimes they're very regular. Sometimes we go through seasons where they're not as regular, but we always come back to them. For 10 years now, I've been doing local events. Why? Because in our business, you have crabs all over the place in your life that are in that bucket with you. You have got to come to those local events to surround yourself with actual humans, because this doesn't do it. I got Sydney on here smiling at me. I got Kristen on here smiling at me. The rest of you, your screens are off. It's totally okay. It's 9:30 in the morning. You might be busy. You might be driving. You don't want to make me vomit while you're running through a trail. I don't know. And it doesn't matter. But because you are not here physically with me, and I cannot see you, and we cannot look eye to eye, and we can't be in that community together, it's really hard for us to prop each other up. But at in-person local events, that is one of the best places you can put yourself in if you're on a journey and you need to surround yourself with people doing the same thing as you. Local events. And that, my friends, those 5 tips didn't come from my brain. These come from across Google and different research I was doing yesterday. But attend local events was one of the top ones I saw. It's why AA works. I used to a bad analogy, I guess, but I used to and still do equate our local meetings and our local events for our team stuff to AA for the business owner, for the affiliate, for the promoter, for the distributor. It is AA for them, because we have to come around people who are on the same mission so we can remember why we're doing it. So when the crabs in the bucket get on us each day and try to pull us back down into just working the 9 to 5, into not wanting a bigger life, a better life, a badder life, a more time freedom, more money to do more things. You know what? Your friends, your family, those people in that bucket that are trying to pull you back, they're afraid for you to change too. They're afraid for you to get out of that bucket and go live a different life. You might leave them behind. That's what they're scared of. So they want to pull you back in. They don't want you to go anywhere. It's comfortable and cozy right there in there with that bucket with you. They don't want to see you go soar, because that means that they got to take a look inside, number one. And number two, they don't know if it's possible for them. Or they might not want to get uncomfortable to get out of the bucket. So you got to go surround yourself with those people. Take a local class that would teach you a new skill set. You will meet other people around you, and it will keep you on that path to bettering yourself and keeping yourself learning about what it is that you're going to do, so that you can keep your mind right on all of it too. So you can just brush them crabs off. And self-education and improvement. Get a mentor if you don't have one. Or if that's not doable for you, make sure you load up on books and audibles, podcasts that will teach you the way, show you the way, that go the way. And YouTube University is free. So are podcasts. There's so much free material out there for us to dig into, to make certain that we're building this up here so that we can have that armor on when other people are trying to pull us down and push us back and keep us in our little safe zone that's in their head. Your safe zone may not be in your head, but you can very easily get pushed back into it if you surround yourself with the wrong people. So I will leave you with this. I've said for a very long time, your 4 other closest people to you, you will be the average of. So you'll be the 5th in that circle. So this is so important, you guys. If you have a big dream or a big goal or a big vision, who are you hanging around with? If you want to be the next top 1%er in your company, or the next rank in your company, are you hanging out with people who are already there, who are that rank, who are running for that rank? Or are you hanging out with and spending your precious time with people who are okay and complacent with where they are? Where are you hanging around? Who are you hanging around? If you are spending your time, the 4 closest people to you that you spend the most time with, and they are people, I don't care if they're your friends, your family, your whoever, they could be the closest person to you. But if those 4 people that are the closest to you are kind of just doing life, they don't really have many goals. They're in your company with you, but they don't really do much. You don't really see them striving for something new. You don't see them ranking up. You don't see them bringing new people into their business. You don't see them leading a team. You don't see them hitting new ranks or new goals or bonuses. You don't see them going to meetings or conventions or events. Is that who you're hanging around with? Because if you are, that is step number 1. You have got to change your circle. And I mean now, like now, it is so important. I'm not saying get rid of your friends and family, but you have got to create a circle around you that is going where you want to go or is already there. You want to be the top 1% of your company? You want to earn those bucks? Who are you hanging around? You hanging around the top 1%ers or the people going there? Or are you hanging around with the people who are okay with being at the bottom? They are always making excuses why they can't make it to the next event. They're always making excuses of why they can't do the things that the leader is setting out for them to do. You want to be a fitness competitor? Stop hanging around your friends that go to McDonald's all the time. Stop hanging around with your friends that think it's okay to order pizza 5 times a week. Stop hanging out with your friends that always have an excuse and never make it to the gym. That should not be your accountability partner. You want to be a millionaire? Say at least 80% of the people on here this morning want to be a millionaire. Are you hanging around millionaires? Well, I make 6 figures a month. It's so doable. There's so many people that do it. So many people that do it. Are you hanging around with them? Or are you hanging around with a bunch of crabs? Or are you a crab? I hope this was helpful for you guys today. Thank you for sticking around for the extra few minutes. I much appreciate everyone who gets on live. It is so much more fun talking to people rather than just talking into a microphone and recording something. So I do appreciate our live viewers, and I will get this recording up so that you can share it. You can re-listen to it. And Sydney will be back here Wednesday with some more fire. Same time, same place, same login. I hope you guys have a fabulous week.